Okay, go. Yep.
Good afternoon. So we're like 8 to 8. Let's go.
Yeah, sorry. So it's week 3. How have the last few weeks been, Dan?
Yeah, pretty good. So I spent the last 2 weeks on outpatients and emergency, which was really good. I really enjoyed that. The staff out there are pretty good as well. I got along with a lot of their healthcare workers and nurses there, so they were welcoming and extra helpful. Saw a lot of different diagnoses. Particularly diagnosed a few cases of TB and got used to taking blood off babies, that kind of stuff, which was good. And then this week, well, I was sick. I got sick on Saturday just with the flu, had cold kind of stuff, so went to Monday ward rounds, came home, slept all day. Tuesday we went out to, and then, I'm just on TB, clinic and anaesthetic and ward stuff. Most of the time just on ward stuff, I think. And yeah, that's been good so far. Today's my first day in the ward, technically, and it's just a bit hard finding your feet when you're not too sure where everything is and how it runs, and there was no other staff there really apart from the nurses. So yeah, that was a bit more difficult. But then Tim and Mo and Ash all came because they all helped out as well. So no, that was good today. So hopefully tomorrow will be a bit more stable. Or a bit more, got my head around it.
Have you learnt a lot?
The way that question is meant to be like, what specific things have you learned? Yes, I suppose to answer that bluntly, yeah, I've learned a lot. I think more around tropical medicine kind of stuff with malaria, with regards to maybe learning the best treatment for certain conditions, no, but I'm learning how to treat them with minimal resources. Skills-wise, I haven't really done much, just done a few classes and that. But not too many additional skills to what I've learned last year. But that's just probably because I haven't had the opportunity yet. Most of mine's been clinical diagnosis. But yeah, generally what I've learned is that if you got a broken bone, amoxicillin. If you have a cold, amoxicillin. If you have a headache, amoxicillin. Pretty much everyone gets amoxicillin before they get Panadol. Which makes it interesting when you're then meeting them and you have to continue the course of amoxicillin, trying not to breed resistance, where there's no point for them to be on it. So yeah, this is some odd prescribing happening, particularly around antibiotics.
What are your thoughts about the lack of resources, and how are you coping without these and making clinical judgments?
Yeah. I think the staff do a really good job for what they've got. As Julius was saying, his theory is that you should be trained in the bigger cities here, so you know what level of care can be provided and should be provided before then coming rural, and ultimately providing a suboptimal level of care, but optimal for what you've got. He was saying if you knew where that level was, you could then try and determine ways in which to reach that level with your limited resources. And also then, at the back of your mind that there's nothing else you can do with what you have here. I found out there's a rural stream in Papua New Guinea for those doctors that want to train and work rurally. It's a bit more diverse as well, so they learn surgery, obstetrician, generally equipping them. But then he said some of the rural doctors that he meets as well, they're experts on solar power, plumbing, building. Pretty much, he said the ones out there have to do everything. So they're very resourceful. For example, the other day, the hospital didn't have any gauze whatsoever, no bandages whatsoever. So I don't know how they coped, but they coped anyway. They just found whatever they could and put that on, the cleanest thing on the wounds. But yeah, I suppose having to deal with that is something that people don't ever expect to deal with in a more developed hospital. And how has it affected me? Yeah, it's been, I suppose, a bit more frustrating knowing that, like, at the end of the day, I'm always saying, well, this is Papua New Guinea, this is the way they do things, this is what we've got. But then coming in with the way we're being taught and not having that experience. And often I don't have them clear in my head the best way to treat something, and then being brought in with these other ways of being how to treat things here is kind of conflicting a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it would be a lot more beneficial if you came here with more skills and you were more comfortable with your level. I know we're just learning, but if you were to come here as a doctor, I think you need to be highly skilled to be able to practice here with limited resources. And coming here with little skills with limited resources would just be a disaster. So that way, otherwise, my judgment wise is I'm relying a lot on the nursing staff and doctors and health extension officers for what they would do. Because basically a lot of the treatments aren't in a textbook, although there's little blue books and little red books which are really helpful, particularly with drug doses. And I'd recommend anyone coming bring their own AMH with them, because drug doses is a nightmare and you're expected to know it in the resources and drug internets, no internet, so bring your own drug resource information and then leave it here would be beneficial.
And what are your thoughts on the Rumganai Community Health Worker School? When you how did you find the experience teaching?
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I had a pretty basic, straightforward one, meningitis. I was a little bit sick while presenting and throughout the day. It was just head cold stuff, so that's alright. Yeah, it was good. It was hard to describe and teach on something that you've only really learned from textbooks. I've seen a few cases of meningitis in adults, but a lot of what these healthcare workers will be seeing is in children, which I haven't seen. So when they'll ask you for specific clinical signs or how do you know, I was just like, you'll know when the child's sick. I've seen sick children and you can tell, but it was hard to describe that to them. So in hindsight, I probably should have put some pictures or a video or something of a sick child with meningitis for them to see, because a lot of these, they don't have, their textbooks are black and white with hardly any pictures. So what we take for granted is I try to describe the pyrrhic rash, but they might not even have access to the internet or coloured textbooks. So when they see it in real life, they've got nothing to compare it to. So having more pictures in there I think would have been better. And the other thing is a lot of these healthcare workers, which I didn't realise, well I did realise but not to that same extent, these are going remote with nothing to help them. They do 2 years of training like this and then they're the only person that provides healthcare. So, and their level of training, I think, well, they're well taught, and that what they're expected to cope with, I don't think can be covered in 2 years. So, yeah, I think what they're going to do would be quite invaluable in the communities, but it would be definitely stressful for them. But they were really nice, like most said, around our age and happy, and it was just good to have a chat to them and let them show us around Rumganai.
I just want to add something. I remember.
Yeah, you can jump in. Join us.
So when we were at the Rumganai thing, I was actually chatting to one of the guys, and this is something that I've heard a couple of times now, but they all have said that they're doing this because they want to help their people and their villages, and there's a real you can see that the ethic behind why they're doing things is definitely not driven by money. And that was really, I don't know, it was quite surprising, because actually I'd heard it a couple times now, and it's very genuine, and I think that, I don't know, that it's good to see that. Makes you realise that, health here is being done actually to support the community. In Australia, you're just part of a big machine. It's not your responsibility. You're not. It doesn't fall all on your shoulders. You're just sort of, working in a hospital. Whereas here, they're taking on that burden and they're going and fixing it.
That's well said. Thank you.
One interesting or emotional case you've handled in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, that would probably be the one case. I made a few cases from ED, and this particular one was a 4-year-old girl with 1 or 2 month history of diarrhea, abdo pain, and she was 4 years old, and I think she weighed 8 kilos, something like that. She wasn't much bigger than a newborn. And you wouldn't think she was 4 years old looking at her, but you could tell she was malnourished and skinny. So admitted this girl. I didn't know what she had. They thought malaria. It came back negative. They treated her for worms. They treated her for, you name it, they'd given her a drug for it. But no real benefit. When I asked the mum what she'd been eating, she's like, oh, she's really picky with what she eats. All she'll do is she'll just drink Coke and soft drink. Might eat the occasional bit of soup and some twisties. And so this kid was pretty much living on lolly water for a few months because she was so stubborn in what she was eating. So anyway, we admitted her because we thought, oh well, maybe there's an underlying cause here. We'll get her, treat her, fan her up a little bit, and then send her on her way with a bit of education with the mum. So I admitted her that day and had everything written up on what we should do and had bloods taken and all that stuff. Now she stayed in the ward for about 3 or 4 days in which nothing was done for her. The second day we had ward rounds, the potassium came back as 1.2, which we were just shocked about it and tried to point out to multiple people that this isn't the case and we should do something about it. To which nothing was really done. They said, oh, we'll retest the blood and just make sure it wasn't an error. A day or 2 days later, that still hadn't been done, and she went around for discharge. To be honest, she was a bit brighter, the girl. We hadn't put any weight on her yet. She refused to drink the ORS we had for her. And all they told the mum was the child has to eat more, and then just going to send her on her way. So I can see that case particularly coming back. From my knowledge, no one told her how to make up the milk oil formula and milk oil sugar, so they just put pretty much sugar, powdered milk and oil together, mix it up and give that to kids to fatten them up, and I think this kid needed that or needed something else. And one thing that totally slipped my mind was Tim was wondering whether it could be type 1 diabetes. We didn't test the blood sugar level because, well, I didn't think of it until the last day, and I asked one of the staff, and they said, no, you don't get type 1 diabetes here. Pretty much. It's always impossibly rare. It's only a certain part of the population on the other side of the country will have type 1 diabetes. So no real point kind of looking into it. And I was like, okay. So she went home, hopefully not with type 1 diabetes. And I suppose you have to be able to laugh at that, and I talked to a few people as well, and at the end of the day, you do need to be able to look at it and say, well, it's not we can't come in, we can't contradict, we can't change the way things are done, we can't bring our medicine into this setting. We just need to maybe influence and put our ideas forward and I hope that, maybe they're picked up. But often they're also, if you ask the doctors and the HEOs on why they're doing a decision, you can see the understanding behind it and why they're doing it. So it's not lack of knowledge or anything like that. There's another reason for it, and I think it's just to keep that mind in the back of your head. Obviously with resource allocation in Australia, we test everyone for everything pretty much, and maybe even do with over-servicing, whereas here they've got limited resources, and talking to the doctors, they really have to only do certain tests when they think it's highly likely that will be positive. So resource allocation is a huge thing, and one that we don't even think of, and it's not rare to, you finally decide to do your liver function test, but you only get 2 of the enzymes back. I mean, that doesn't really help you that much, and you've wasted some more resources. So, I think just being aware of the settings.
Having done a number of grand rounds, what topic do you think the staff would benefit from?
Judicious antibiotic prescribing. I think they really need to be taught more about resistance and taught about what antibiotics would work for when. Everyone is given amoxicillin. Like Marilla said, we've seen multiple people with fractured, non-compound fractures. Amoxicillin's the first thing they put on. And it's just insane. Anything is just amoxicillin, Panadol, and that's it. We have a lady with a fractured femur that we then put 9 kilos of weight on for traction. She was moaning in pain. I went up to the one of the staff and I was like, oh, have we given her some pain relief today? You know, some pethidine or anything like that. She's like, oh no, she's okay. I gave her 2 Panadol before. She was clearly in pain and we gave her iron pethidine after that. But digressing, I think teaching on antibiotic prescription, and also maybe even advising on anti-malarial treatment. Talking to Tim today, the government's stopped supply of artemether and artemisinin, I think the other one, to the hospital because they want everyone to start using Mala 1. You can only prescribe Mala 1 when you tested positive to falciparum or Vivax on the RDT test kits and not with a clinical diagnosis. So when people haven't tested positive to it, people are going back and using chloroquine and primaquine and even, I haven't seen quinine yet, but you know, they're using the older forms of treatment because they can't get artemether and the ones they have, whereas it's the public health campaign isn't being communicated to the people on the front line. They made the decision in Port Moresby to stop the supply of artemether and these kind of things to sway everyone to do rapid diagnostic testing. But from my understanding, no one else in the hospital apart from the pharmacist knows that this is purposeful stopping supply, and people aren't changing their prescribing practices. So, education around that would also be good.
Any interesting stories or experiences from outside of hospital?
Yeah, we've just been, I don't know if we talked about that the other week, just helping with the swimming with the kids. I might have talked about that last week. So Graham, he's pretty incredible. He works from 6:30 till 6:30, pretty much 7 days a week, and in his spare time he runs swimming lessons for kids and mows the lawn at the hospital and does everything, like really puts his heart and soul into the community here while he's here. So he invited us along to help coach swimming to some of the local kids whose parents work for the mine. So that was fun. It's a lot harder to teach swimming than it is, to do basic stroke breakdown, which was, I didn't think it would be so hard, but it is kind of difficult to tell someone how to swim and teach them to do it properly. Trivia night was fun, so I got to meet a whole lot of local, mainly guys that work in the hardware shop and the freezer place and mini mart and security guards and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was good. And yeah, everyone's just friendly.
Any realizations or epiphanies about medicine, your career or life?
Okay. Medicine-wise, doing this kind of medicine here is hard, and you need to know a lot of stuff. And if you were planning to come to either rural Papua New Guinea or even rural Australia, you really need to have a good, solid set of resources and people to call on. I'm missing my AMH, I don't know whether that's my pharmacy background, but having that handbook there will just make me feel so much more comfortable with prescribing and managing patients. Even the therapeutic guidelines, whilst they don't have the medication-wise, they do have some medications here, and it does, that gives you a good indication of how to do it. But the books they've got here are good. So yeah, medicine-wise, it's pretty, you have to be good with what you have to make big outcomes. But also I learned that people are very resilient. We had one lady with sepsis for 4 or 5 days on the ward, belly bloated, rigid. I thought she was going to die, hypotensive, everything like that. And we're like, they're like, oh no, her lungs aren't good, we'll just do the surgery tomorrow. And I was a bit dubious as to whether she was going to survive to tomorrow. And lo and behold, she survived. They did the surgery. 1 week later now, she was up walking around fine. So that the strength of people, I don't know whether it's just Papua New Guinea, but what people can put up with illness-wise is just, the body's pretty amazing in that fact. Even the pain thresholds in Papua New Guinea are just insane. These fractures and that, it's amazing what the body can put up with when it needs to. Career-wise, I suppose it's just strengthened my idea of doing rural medicine. Not necessarily for the range of things you can do, but for the impact you can have. It's really shown that you can make a big difference. One person with lots of skills can make a huge difference to a whole community. So diversifying the skill set. Mind you, I'm still not particularly interested in surgery or obstetrics. But seeing this here and seeing how useful those skills are here may sway me interested in them in the future. And public health wise and health administration as well. We've seen here there's a lot of things you can do, and that's kind of, I think I would enjoy that side of public health and administration side of things. And life wise, just take for granted what we have in Australia. People have it rough here with just rice and season, and that's it for dinner. Most people, or rice with a bit of noodles, which is this flavouring for it. I suppose we are pretty privileged, and it is, just see back to basic kind of stuff, and how some people do live in the world. It kind of brings you back home to that level, so you really take for granted what we do have back at home in Australia. And it's always nice to know, and you think sometimes you're like, oh well, if that ever happens to me, I'll be on the first plane out of here. But these people don't have that choice. They don't even have the choice to go to Tableville or 130 k's away to get better treatment sometimes. So you really take it for granted.
All right, Dan. Any other points you want to mention?
No, other than everyone's been pretty good at looking after each other when they've been sick. Well, particularly me. I felt like shit the last few days. But everyone kind of pulls in and helps each other out. And, so it's good having the group of 4 of us here for that kind of stuff.
All right.